Are you exhausted from apologizing for your mere existence? The unwarranted "I'm sorry" is an invisible burden, consuming your energy. In this video, we will dissect this obsolete survival mechanism and show you how to reclaim your space. Stop apologizing. Each of us carries within us a complex architecture of the soul, where external fortitude is sometimes just a layer of plaster covering long-standing internal fractures. And on the facade of that architecture, many carry a heavy door, deeply etched with a word tragically familiar. I'm sorry. That word escapes your lips dozens of times a day, even when you haven't broken anything, haven't been late, haven't caused any tangible inconvenience. A strange paradox. The composed, polite exterior, always prioritizing others, conceals a quiet, internal collapse, a nameless exhaustion that no one sees. If a sincere apology is the admission of a conscious fault, then what are these unwarranted apologies confessing? They do not reflect humility. They reflect an invisible burden. The deep-seated belief that your mere existence is an inconvenience that must be compensated for. What the world praises as your spiritual strength, your ability to endure, to rise up, to self-heal, has never actually been a free choice. It is a survival instinct, forged since you were a child. During the days, you were forced to believe that your safety and acceptance depended on soothing the emotions of others, and thus a psychological code was etched deep into your nervous system, whispering a painful message you never utter aloud. I'm afraid I'm too much, too loud, too demanding, or I don't deserve to take up any space. I'm sorry for existing here. In this video, we will delve into the origins of this complex adaptation. We will collectively decipher the hidden wounds behind excessive politeness and find a way to reframe the apology into a powerful affirmation of personal boundaries. Excessive apologizing is not a flaw in character or a moral weakness. It is a complex coping mechanism, formed and perfected over years of living in an emotionally unsafe environment. In that place, every emotion, every reaction from others could become an alarm signal, forcing you to become hypervigilant to the point of exhaustion. Your maturity, which many people praise, is, in reality, forced maturity. It is not the result of natural exploration, of growing up with support, but the only survival strategy you could conceive of as a child. You were compelled to grow up quickly, to fill the voids of the adults around you, to constantly adjust yourself according to their needs, anger, or volatility. In psychological terms, the behavior of constantly apologizing preemptively, or apologizing to prevent conflict, is called over-emotional compensation. This is the mechanism by which you take on the emotional responsibility of others, a responsibility that was never meant to be yours. You were trained to believe that the peace of others is always more important than your own peace, that to survive, you must become extremely flexible, adaptable to the point of losing personal boundaries, and responsible for things you cannot control. When looking at your personality traits, we don't just see sophistication, we see an emotional radar system operating at maximum intensity. You read silence as if it were a separate language. You sense underlying anger just by a slight furrow of a brow. You feel the tension in a room even before someone speaks a word, and you try everything to extinguish conflict, even when that conflict has not yet emerged. This is not sensitivity in the usual beautiful sense. This is hypercognition, an early warning system, programmed deeply into your nervous system when you were too young to understand what was happening, but sensitive enough to know that if you weren't vigilant, you would be hurt. You don't just observe the world, you unscan it, you unanalyze it, you interpret in every minute emotional gap of others, because back then, your very survival depended on it. And today, in every unwarranted "I'm sorry" that slips out, that alarm system still echoes, a legacy of the past that you were never allowed to put down. The brain of a child raised in a conflict-ridden environment does not develop according to the natural rhythm of safety, but according to survival logic. How to minimize danger the fastest. In families where yelling, threats, or tense silence are always imminent, the child quickly learns a cruel rule. To be safe, shrink yourself. To be allowed to stay, take the blame. Even when the fault is not yours, invisibility becomes armor. Self-blame becomes a screen. That young brain records an unconscious script. As a survival mantra, I must apologize before things get worse. I must apologize to calm the tension. I must apologize because if I am wrong, or even perceived as wrong, I could lose my security. These messages don't just exist in thought. They are etched directly into the nervous system, becoming an automatic reflex over the years. According to Carl Jung, the shadow is the repressed part of the ego, the emotions, needs, and truths about who you are that no one allowed to exist when you were young. Growing up in a constantly tense environment, the child soon believes, my true self is fundamentally flawed. If they see that part, I will be criticized, punished, or abandoned. Therefore, continuous apologizing is not merely a social habit. It is a sophisticated defense strategy. Apologizing to soothe the feeling of something is wrong with me. Apologizing to cover the fear that if others see your true self, they will not accept you. Apologizing to my control. The judgment before it even appears. It is the act of self-criticizing before anyone else gets the chance to criticize you. A thin layer of armor, both protecting and preventing you from ever truly breathing. Another underlying cause lies in the erosion of personal boundaries. Boundaries answer the basic question of psychological life. What belongs to me and what doesn't? But in a turbulent childhood, these boundaries were never taught. You weren't allowed to have your own feelings, your own thoughts, your own needs. Everything was blended or denied. Consequently, you apologize when others are upset, even when that emotion has nothing to do with you. You apologize because you fear taking up space, bothering others, even when you are just existing normally. You apologize because saying no was once too dangerous. It once led to shouting, cold silence, or being pushed out of the circle of safety. When boundaries are blurred, just existing makes you feel like you are crossing someone else's line. Thus, I'm sorry becomes the safest choice. Not because you are wrong, but because, in the past, safety was always exchanged for subservience. You apologize, not because you are wrong. You apologize because you once lived in an environment where the mistakes of others also became your responsibility. You apologize to keep the peace. You apologize to avoid conflict. You apologize to prevent the storm before it erupts. You carry the emotional gravity of others on your shoulders because confrontation was once too dangerous, too risky for the soul of a sensitive child. You are not someone who is always wrong. You are a wounded person who learned to overcompensate, by shrinking your own worth to ensure that everything around you did not explode. And this contradiction, both strong and fragile, both empathetic and self-sacrificing, is not a flaw. It is proof of your depth, your complexity. You need to understand an important truth. All your reactions are perfectly rational within the context you have experienced. You are not broken. You are not damaged. You are someone who had to adapt in an environment full of emotional chaos. You developed sophisticated survival strategies that many people never had to learn. The wound is not the endpoint. The wound is your raw material. The place where you learn how to rebuild yourself. The unwarranted apologies, the hypervigilance, the tendency to self-isolate are all evidence that you forged your brain and heart in the highest emotional temperatures to survive. Your strength does not come from never having been hurt. Your strength comes from the fact that despite being hurt, you still stand up, still reconstruct your inner self with more durable, sturdier materials. You have become an engineer of healing, not because life was gentle, but because it never was. You are the high emotional adapter. You read others' nuances, not because of natural giftedness, but because you lived in an environment that demanded it for survival. And now, it has become a form of refined emotional intelligence, paid for with pain that others do not see. Please stop self-criticizing these qualities. They are not weaknesses. They are the size, most sophisticated survival tools your soul has forged to overcome adversity. Instead of seeing them as wounds, view them as proof of your absolute resilience. You learn the art of turning fear into a guiding compass and turning isolation into a sacred space to recreate yourself from within. However, this complex adaptation, the habit of constantly saying unwarranted apologies, creates a painful challenge in social interactions. It leads to a profound emotional duality. You are simultaneously capable of deep understanding and empathy for others, yet you feel detached from your own emotions and truth in the process. Whenever you feel triggered by a light criticism or a fleeting frown, you are experiencing the almighty echo response. Your current fearful reaction is not about the event happening now, but the activation of an age-old script. The inner child within you is reacting to the fear of rejection from the past. Your apology is a desperate attempt to silence that painful echo, to quickly restore safety. Thanks to the high emotional intelligence, paid for with wounds, you often inadvertently become the emotional pillar for everyone else. You understand the depth of darkness, so you are the one people turn to in a crisis. But few realize that constantly bearing the weight of others' emotions is an immense burden placed upon your already overtaxed soul structure. Worse still, the unwarranted apologies are distorting your value in the eyes of others, and tragically, in your own eyes. You are unconsciously teaching the world that your space must be minimized, and your needs are something to apologize for. This creates a self-sabotage loop, where you constantly seek validation by denying your true self. Understanding and naming this complex mechanism is the first and most important step to liberating yourself from the role of the perpetual healer or ankta pacifier. You need to recognize the truth. You do not need to apologize to keep those who truly respect and love you. You are not just a survivor. You are the lighthouse. You understand the darkness, not because you are the darkness, but because you learn to find the light right at the heart of the storm. This maturity gained through adversity is not just adaptation. It is a phenomenal emotional evolution of the soul. A sincere apology is reserved for a conscious action that caused harm. All other apologies are to protect a child who once felt unsafe. Or remember this, you are grown now. You didn't just go through the pain. You grew through it. The journey of healing and soul reconstruction begins with a moment of realization. You do not need to make yourself small. You do not need to apologize to be worthy of love. It is time to replace the habit of self-denial with the following powerful, boundary-affirming actions. 1. Replace "I'm sorry" with "thank you." This is the most powerful, neuro-changing practice. When you feel the urge to say, "I'm sorry for wasting your time," immediately switch to, "Thank you for your patience and kindness." This action shifts the focus entirely from your perceived fault to the kindness of the other person. It not only honors them, but also affirms your value as a grateful person instead of denying it as a faulty one. 2. Name the emotion. Don't apologize for it. Your emotions are data, not guilt. Stop apologizing immediately for what you are feeling. Instead of saying, "I'm sorry, I feel terrible," state clearly, "Currently, I am feeling anxious," or "I am feeling confused about this issue." Naming it helps you realize that your emotion is completely valid given the circumstance. It is not a mistake that needs to be fixed or hidden. They have the right to exist. 3. The power of the simple. No. Learn to decline simply, without excessive explanation, without apologizing for your personal needs. When you establish personal boundaries, you do not need to justify decisions that honor yourself. A calm, gentle, but firm "no" is the strongest affirmation of your boundaries and your worth. Finally, do the most important thing. Give your inner child absolute safety. Learn how to affirm your own existence. You deserve to be there, to occupy that space, without needing to apologize. And now, if you have ever been an excessive apologizer, share a moment below where you successfully replaced "I'm sorry" with "thank you" in the comments. Let's start this journey of soul reconstruction together. Thank you for listening. We look forward to seeing you in the next videos.